So what is a bar chord? A bar chord is simply a chord that you use one finger to hold down multiple notes. A good example of a bar chord would be this A minor 7th chord, where I'm taking my first finger and I'm holding it down or barring across all 6 strings. And I'm taking my third finger and putting on the 5th string 7th fret on this E right here. So what's happening is 5 out of the 6 strings are being played just with my one finger only, because I'm holding down more than one string with my one finger. And then the only one that's not being barred is this note right here, this E. So this A minor 7th, I think, is a great example of what a bar chord is. There's many different types of bar chords. I just think this one's the easiest one to demonstrate, exactly what you're doing when you're barring notes. So why do you need to play bar chords? In the beginning, when you're first learning to play guitar, you're going to spend a lot of time playing all these open chords. D, G, C, A minor, E, the E's, E major, E minor. But eventually, when you go to play songs, you're going to find that there's always going to, it's not always, but a lot of times there's going to be 1 or 2 chords in there that you can't play using an open chord. If you're in the key of C, when it goes to the 4 chord, it's F. So you can try to play this little triad, you can play a 4-note version, but it's basically just kind of all different kind of easy ways to avoid playing a bar chord. But eventually, to play songs, you're going to need to know how to play a bar chord. You can use a capo, and that if you look up how to play lyrics and chords for a lot of songs, you'll see a lot of, they'll say use capo on the 3rd fret of the 4th fret, and that's basically when a song's in a key where you're going to end up having to use a lot of bar chords. But if you use a capo, maybe you can get away with G, C, and D, that kind of thing, mostly open chords. But eventually, to be a decent guitar player, you have to learn how to play some bar chords. It will make your life a lot easier. And my advice is just go ahead and start working on them. They're going to take a long time to get down. Long time meaning, a couple months maybe. But just start playing them, and eventually your hands will get used to them, and you'll find them very easy, and they will be a great benefit to your guitar playing. So what are the benefits of knowing how to play your bar chords? The benefits are, in this course, I'm going to show you how to play major, minor, and dominant 7th chords based off of the 6th string and the 5th string. The benefit of that is you instantly can play 72 different chords. If you need to play an F chord, you can play right here, or you can play right here. If you need to play a B minor chord, you have this option or this option. Maybe you need to play, say, a C sharp 7. Well, I can play it here, or I can play it right here. So the main benefit is that you can play any major, minor, or dominant 7th chord, not just anywhere on the neck, but in 2 different places as well. So to me, that's a huge benefit. So now when I look at the lyrics and chords, I don't have to be afraid that it says F sharp 7. Well, how do you even do that? Because the bar chords are movable. If I can play this F sharp 7, if I move it up 1 fret, this is the note G here, so this is a G7, G sharp 7, A7. So by knowing one bar chord form, I can slide it up and down the neck and play 12 different chords instantly, which is a huge benefit. The same as if this is a D chord here, based off the 5th string. Well, this is D flat, C, B, B flat, A. So the biggest benefit is that you instantly know how to play 72 different chords, and any major, minor, or dominant 7th chord that comes up in a song, you'll have that covered. So how do you practice bar chords? My advice would be to first start by just getting used to using your first finger and holding down all 6 strings. Because I noticed that when I was teaching students, they could usually get the other fingers down, but really it's the strength that's needed to bar and squeeze all 6 strings at once. That's really what a student needs to work on if you can't play bar chords. So what I suggested doing is starting on the 1st fret and just working up each fret. It's basically, I look at it as strength training. It's not fun, it's not exciting, it's not really musical, you don't have to think about it too much. But you could go back, you could go back down, up and down. So in the beginning, every time I pick up a guitar, if I want to practice my chords, I would practice this skill. The biggest thing is when you're playing these bar chords, you need to drop your wrist down. And when you're playing an open chord, you know, you have your hand kind of like this, almost like a grip, like your palm's coming in against it. But when you go to play a bar chord, you have to drop your wrist down, because to get that squeeze, you're going to need to be squeezing between your thumb, which should be about in the middle of the neck, in the back, and then your first finger. So to be able to get that nice hard squeeze, your thumb needs to be where you are in a position to squeeze really well. So this seems kind of weird, but what I have found that with students that practice this for a week or two, doing this, that they are much more ready than once they are able to be able to strum and hear all 6 strings. They were much more ready and found the bar chords much easier. So that's the first thing I would do to start practicing bar chords. The next thing I would do is take a bar chord that I learned, say a major chord, and I would just play it anywhere on the neck. Because you need to get used to the width of the frets. Down here, the frets are they're wider, they're more spread out. Up here, it's a lot tighter. You know, if you're playing an acoustic, you're probably not going to be playing a lot of bar chords above the 12th fret. If you have an electric, you can try, but it starts getting much tougher up past the 12th fret. I would usually try up to the 12th fret, but you just want to practice moving around and playing random chords. And as you're playing those random chords, identify what the chord actually is. So if I just grab this chord, I look down, I know the note C sharp, so that's a C sharp major chord. That way you're not just only practicing how to hold this major chord, but you're actually kind of, you know, not relearning, but making sure that you know what chord you're playing by knowing where all your notes are. So if you're like me, I like to approach things systematically. So how I would practice these bar chords is I would probably go around the circle of fifths. So let's say if I wanted to practice a major chord based off the 6th string, I would start here on C, then I would go up a fifth. Musically, up a fifth is a G, so then I would play a G, then up a fifth would be a D, then A, and then E, and then B. So what I'm doing is I'm going up a fifth each time, and if you don't know how to do that, you know, in your head, but then I attached my circle of fifths chart to the project and resource sections of this course, so that you can basically just either look at the PDF or print it out, and then you can kind of systematically go through, and any chord you're practicing, you can systematically go through and play all 12 possible examples of that chord. So I would do that based off the 5th string and then the 6th string as well. So that's, to me, that way I know I haven't missed anything. Yes, you can just play them randomly anywhere, and that'll probably get the job done as well. But if you're a little more interested in some organization, then the circle of fifths is the way to go. So we've talked about what a bar chord is, what the benefits of bar chords are, and how to go about practicing them. Now let's go to the next lesson and actually start learning how to play some of these chords.